In today's video, we are going to talk about cybersecurity. We are going to learn about password security and its management. So let's start. Firstly, let's talk about the basics of passwords so that we will have a base to talk about, and then we will have the idea of in which way we are going. So the first thing that I would like to say is your password is important. You know, when the web was first introduced to people, what was the most common password that people took? It was 12345. It is pretty easy to guess, right? But now people are getting to learn that they should have longer password. So the most common password as of now is 123456. I know it is pretty funny because people do not understand that they should have a hard password. That is why their security is at risk. 59% people use same passwords everywhere. Now it is pretty obvious to say that human memory is limited, and that is the reason why we end up putting the same passwords everywhere, because we cannot just memorize hundreds of passwords, right? 70% people do not trust on passwords, and to be frank, I am one of them. Okay, here is a big one. 90% of the passwords, including maybe yours, can be cracked in less than 6 hours. Okay, there are 4 types of password hacking systems that are most common. The first is dictionary attacks, brute force attacks, credentials stuffing, social engineering. And social engineering includes phishing attacks. So that is the reason why most passwords are hackable. You know what are the top 10 passwords that people choose? These. I know, these are pretty obvious, and that is the reason why these are chosen in the top 5 list. And you know what is the most adequate password that we should have? Something like this. I know this is hard to create and hard to memorize, and it makes the job harder to manage them. That is the reason why passwords are not that secure, but we will talk about this. 18% employees and 19% students share their passwords with others. Now when you know all these basic knowledge about passwords and security, let's talk about how to make your passwords secure. You should have two-factor authentication system. Now it is really important for you to have two-factor authentication, and if you do not have two-factor authentication in your Google accounts or any other accounts which enables you to have two-factor authentication, I do recommend you to enable this. The next one is hard passwords. You should have passwords not like this, but something like this. Again, this is hard to create, but I will talk about this in a minute. But the thing is, you should have hard passwords which are not easy to guess, and it should not have any number that means something to you. It may be your date or any year or month number, maybe your phone number digits or anything, but it should not mean anything to you, any number like that. The second thing is, you should not have any name or any word that is there in dictionary or means something to you. Now what does that left us with? Something like this again. A random combination of uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers and symbols, right? So we should have a passwords like this, and in this video I will teach you that how can you make and memorize these kind of passwords very easily. Now what I'm going to share with you is a encryption system. First of all, let me talk about what is an encryption system. When we convert a password from something like this to this, it becomes encrypted password. Okay, so the password which is encrypted is really hard to crack, okay, because it does not have any kind of relations with the owner. So if you want to create a password like this, I'm going to share with you an encryption system which is called neighbor encryption. Now the neighbor encryption is a really old method of encryption, and it was created by a professor named, no, I'm just kidding. The neighbor encryption is created by me some months ago, and this is how it works. So here is a no skill animation that I have created. Speaking of which, my brother also makes animations, so if you just want to check out his channel, you can just click the link in description. Now back to neighbor encryption. Here you can see a keyboard. Now there are some rules for neighbor encryption. The first one is every alphabet key is going to be replaced by its right neighbor key. So the S becomes D, F becomes G, H becomes J, and so on. The second rule is every alphabet from the top row is going to be replaced by the number above it. So Q does not become W, but it becomes 1. W becomes 2, and so on. Because you can see there are 10 numbers in the number row, and in the first alphabet row you can see there are 10 alphabets. So P becomes 0 and Q becomes 1. Now if we look at the third rule, it says that the second rule is not going to apply if the alphabet is uppercase. So let's say the alphabets are uppercase. So if W is uppercase, it is not going to become 2, it will become E. And T is not going to become 5, it will become Y only if the alphabet is uppercase. Now let's take the word neighbor. So in this you can see N is becoming M because M is right to the N. E is becoming 3 because E is not capital and E is in the top layer, so it becomes 3. I becomes 8 because 8 is just above it, and so on. You can just see this by pausing the video. Lastly, these set of rules are not completely set. You can play around with them and change them according to your own algorithm. So you can just use the left neighbor instead of right neighbor, or you can use symbols instead of numbers. You can change them whenever you want. I just use symbols when one number is going to repeat. The second thing is, it is much recommended for you to use a word which is having more than 8 alphabets, and it should have at least one uppercase alphabet, so it will become a mixture of both uppercase and lowercase alphabets, and in addition it will also become a mixture of numbers and symbols. Now when you know how to encrypt your passwords, you should be able to create passwords which are really hard to crack. But what if someone gains access to your passwords, absolutely encrypted password, and tries that in different areas? You will be able to crack much others, because as I have said that people use one password in more than one places, right? So to prevent that, we are going to use management systems. Now what I'm going to share with you is known as pass sheet. What is a pass sheet? Well, pass sheet is spreadsheet that includes passwords, so pass sheet. But the thing is, we are going to make that so hard for someone to gain access. We are going to protect that with a master key, and then we are going to protect that with another master key. So I mean, you will be entering a password to get a file in which you will be required to enter another password, and then you will be able to get access to all the passwords. Okay, now let's talk about pass sheet. So here I am having an Excel sheet named as pass sheet. So if I just click right here, so all you need to do is to create an Excel sheet and name that anything you want. You can fill this with all your passwords and all your stuff. I will just type anything right here, and then once you have completed your work of writing these things, you have to save this pass sheet. Just go to the file, and here you can see protect workbook. So for this you have to just encrypt with password. If you just do this, you have to write a password here. So you can write any password, and I'm just going to write the word dolphin but in the neighbor encryption. Now here you have to re-enter the password, so just do this. Now remember that passwords are case sensitive,
as you can read here. Okay, so that is the reason why you have to keep this in mind, that you have to put the first letter as capital. So just click OK right here. So as you can see, now our pass sheet is encrypted with the password. So now you have to save this. Make sure this pass sheet is not anywhere online, not on Google spreadsheet or anywhere. You have to keep this offline. You can keep this in your desktop or you can keep this in your mobile phone, but all you need to keep in mind is do not let this sync in any online service.
Now when we have our pass sheet ready, we do not want this to be open right here in desktop or in any folder, because if someone is there sitting with me, he will be able to see that. Now if I just make this absolutely invisible to anyone, this is what we are going to do right now. You have to download the program from my description. The program that you are going to download is in the batch file. Now if you are not getting in a batch file and you are getting a txt text file, so I would recommend you to save as that file and add the last .bat in the end. Okay, that will make the file to batch file. So what is a batch file? Batch file is an app but with a terrible interface.
Once you have downloaded the batch file, you can just double click on it, and here it will create a folder named as secrets. Once the folder is created, you can put the pass sheet inside of the folder, and here you can see now we have the folder which contains the pass sheet, and then we have the temp files batch file. You can just click on it again, and here it will ask you that if you sure you want to lock the folder. Now you have to just press Y and press the enter button. Now the folder is gone, and if you just click on view the hidden items, here you can see the hidden items are selected. So you can see the hidden items, and it is not hidden like this. Only way if you want to watch that folder again is to double click on it, and then you have to put your password inside of this, then it will open up the folder. Now if you have forgotten your password, what you can do is you can just right click on it and click on edit. Here you can see we have a password which is this. This is the word example in the neighbor encryption. Once you have got your password again, you can just click on this, put your password, and then press enter. Here the folder came back, and in this you can find your pass sheet. This is how the temp files batch file is going to work. You can download this from the description.
So that was all in this video, and we are going to learn more in our next videos. So stay tuned by hitting the subscribe button, and if you like this video, please press the like button.